W.O.R.K.S world with me, Ashar Alam, and the lovely Marina Nani. Today what we're going to talk about is something that I've been doing for a very long time, and is actually how I met Marina, was at a seminar, at a live event where there was teaching, and there was selling, and there was interaction, and there was networking. But at the end of the day, what there really was a lot of buzz, was a lot of excitement, a lot of engagement, and a high energy. And when you bring like-minded individuals into a room and you create this environment of high energy, high connection, people that are goal-oriented, motivated, then it's just something magical. Wouldn't you agree, Marina?
Absolutely. Ashar, actually, you are my personal hero digital blueprint. And I know that thousands of people around the world who are using your formula. And even, these people we met on 5 different continents, they are all working on their craft and sharing their message and sharing their story. And perhaps, most probably, they already published their book. And now they're facing this brick wall, the scientific process of transforming the problem into solution. And I know you got that recipe, and their dream is to fill the room, to automate their business online. So I understand that today is the day when you are going to share this process of transforming an empty room into a high energy room. Over to you, Ashar.
Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm building a course based around this and showing people the step-by-step formula, because there are certain steps that need to go on and they have to be in the perfect sequence in order for your live event to be a huge success. If you're missing any of these steps, and if any of these steps are actually out of order, your live event could be a complete flop and you could be speaking to an empty room. So if you follow this recipe and this course I'm building, then you'll have a high chance of having a room full of your target prospects. And there's really no better way to interact with your clients, to get to know what they want, what their problems are, how you can solve them, than seeing them face to face. The internet is great. It's perfect for a lot of delivery of everything that we do. But even Google, there was a quote from Google. This is what really stuck with me, Marina, is that 93% of commerce still happens offline. So wow. That includes Amazon, that includes Google and all the advertising on Google, Facebook, whatever it may be. It's 93% of that still occurs offline. So what better way for people in our space to help people in an offline environment is, the best way is in a seminar environment. So if you're feeling that, if you're intimidated by a live event, number one, you shouldn't be. Number two, if you're not even entertaining the idea of having live events, you're really making a big mistake, because 9 out of every $10, according to Google, you're throwing away. You're leaving off the table right now. You don't even have access to, because you're not creating that live event environment to speak, interact, deliver value, teach, and of course collect sales and from coaching, consulting, products and services from your clients. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through, because I'm building this course. I'm in my own space and I understand how to do it, but I also want to see what people's hangups are, what their concerns are about putting together a live event. What are their objections? What are their questions? What's the first thing that comes to mind? So we'll start with a very super duper successful real estate agent that I am good friends with, based out of Toronto. This guy is all about processes. He's taken from a single real estate agent. He owns a brokerage now. He has many agents working for him, and he makes millions and millions of dollars in sales and commissions every single year. So when I asked him, the questions that he came back with were, okay, so the first question he came back with, and he said the one most important question to answer is, what percentage will convert to clients that attend? So him coming from his mindset of, I'm looking for buyers and sellers. What percentage of these people are going to convert to clients? So let's think about that. Now, this goes back to what we actually talked about in last week's call. And if you haven't listened to the previous call, you should, because we're talking about targeting, we're talking about your client avatar, and we're talking about who your ideal prospect is. So here's the beauty of it. If you're once you know who your target client is, once you know who your avatar is, and you put messaging out there that's solving their problem, then that's who you're going to attract. So we're not going to have a bunch of people in here that are not interested in buying and selling houses, or buying a house or selling their house. We're going to have the right client. That's who we're going after in the marketing. So this question is, what percentage will convert? That's hard to say. It's easier to say in a direct response model where you're selling coaching and consulting, where we see anywhere from 10 to 20% sales. So for a real estate agent, it might be higher, because it's easier to sell someone. If you're attracting people that are looking to buy a house, then it's going to be higher. It might be a 2 or 3 month window, but it's going to be significantly higher than 10 to 20%. It might be 30, 40, 50%, is because that's who we're going after, buyers. If we're looking for house sellers, and we put together a seminar based on how to, an afternoon or evening seminar that's based on 7 ways to get more money more bang for your buck when you're selling your house, or something like that. And then we say, this person who's teaching it has bought and sold over 3,000 houses over a 5-year career in real estate. He's going to show you the proven system he's used to do that, and he's going to show you where he's seen the highest return on investments, or whatever the case may be. He's going to give all his secrets away. So that's going to attract people that are selling, because people who are selling houses, they want to get as much money as possible for their biggest investment, right? So that's an example. So when you ask how likely, what percentage that will convert, percentage is going to be high. How quickly will they convert? Now that's going to take some follow-up. So that's some of the process we talk about in the follow-up sequences to a seminar. So post seminars, when a seminar is done and the doors close on the end of a Sunday, typically when the event is, that's not the last time you're obviously going to talk to the client. You want to have follow-up emails. You want to have follow-up contact with the buyers. You want to have follow-up special sequences for your buyers. And in this case, so we would have identified by having them fill out a questionnaire, who is the most likely to buy in the next 1 to 2 to 3 months. Then we would have they would have put them in one pool for a person who wants to buy a house buy or sell a house in the next 2 weeks, buy or sell a house in the next 2 months, buy or sell a house in the next 3 months, buy or sell a house in the next year, right? So we put those in those categories, and then we spend our energy on those different groups. So as one of your things, Marina, is helping high net worth individuals with real estate. Does that all make sense with you when it comes to make all sense for you when it comes to real estate? And
definitely. And I have to tell you this, I followed your formula, I done my homework, and I just ended my very first buying tour after your lesson. So thank you very much, Ashar. I'm very grateful. So absolutely works. I done everything you said. I put the message out there, and I had some random people calling me, and they treated me at the end with 8,000 cocktails for the glass, but I don't drink. I said, I'm going to have this. So it was an absolutely fabulous result for me, and I'm sure it's for you, because just prove that everything you say works as long as you implement it at your end as a client. So for our listeners, take notes. I'm writing here. I've filled 2 pages already. So take notes, because it's absolutely worth it. It's priceless. Over to you, Ashar.
Okay, perfect. So the next colleague and friend of mine, he deals with, he has private. So this is going to make a lot of sense for a lot of the listeners, because he helps people with addictions, and his coaching and one-on-one consulting services can be anywhere from $8,000 to $25,000. So this is what we call high-ticket coaching and consulting. So when I asked him what are the 4 questions that he would have about putting an event together, the first question is, who can I hire to fill a room with target prospects? So that's a great question. He can hire me, number one. But if you're just looking to figure that out, who to hire, that's a hard question to answer because there's not a lot of people who do it, or not a lot of people who do it successfully. So that's actually a tough question. What I would do is put together a checklist, and that checklist would be, have they done live event promotions before? Have they done it in the industry he's in? These are the questions I would ask. What is the typical cost per registration that you would see in this industry? What is the typical percent show of the people from the different lead sources? So for instance, a newspaper ad has a higher show rate than a Facebook ad, but a Facebook ad has a lower cost per registration. Sometimes the cost per person attending. So here's a couple of metrics that people who are interested in seminars should be aware of. The first one is cost per registration. So that's just the cost to acquire a lead. Second is cost per attendee. That is the cost for dividing basically all the marketing spend by how many people actually show up at the event. Okay, then you take it a step further. Then you divide all of the marketing spend for Facebook and divide it by all the Facebook people that showed up. You take all the marketing spend for newspaper, divide it by the newspaper people that showed up, for infomercial, for all the things, so on and so forth. Okay, then you want to know what your typical close rate is for the room. So once you get people in a room, what's the percent of those people you can sell? Or what's the percent that will buy? So that'll go from, so I'm really, Marina, as you can see, I'm really pulling back the curtains right now for the whole seminar industry, and all the metrics and stuff that people pay attention to. So anyhow.
Very grateful, Ashar. This is really gold, absolute gold.
Yeah, this is like the real deal. These are the metrics that all the seminar people, industry people look at. So then we look at cost per attendee, we look at percent closed, and then if we're having multiple sales per event or per session, if it's a 2-day event, then there's typically multiple sales. If it's an hour or 2-hour event, there might be 1 to 2 sales, and we look at the percent closed for each of those sessions. And then the final number, really there's 2 numbers that are the most important if you have those 2 numbers, those are the 2 most important KPIs. Actually, 3 numbers. These 3 are the most important KPIs for the event. Total sales and total profits is the number 1 thing. Number 2 is dollars per head. So for everyone who showed up to the event, divided by the total sales. So that's the dollars per head in the room. And then the third is cost per attendees. So if your cost per attendee was $150, but your dollars per head was $500 or $1,000, so you're making the spread. We typically don't include administration costs. We don't include the cost of the hotel, because a hotel booking a venue can be anywhere from $500 to $4,000 or $5,000 for a weekend, or depending on the length of time, right? So those are the 2 numbers we look at. We look at dollars per head minus cost per attendees to know the profit per people, and then of course the total number of attendees. So those are the metrics that seminar marketers live and die by. And I've seen, Marina, anywhere from $500 per head to what's more typical in the industry on a weekend event is $1,500 to $2,000 per person at the event. So it's not each individual is paying $2,000. No, it's the average of everyone in the room for sales. And I've seen, honestly, Marina, I've seen $20,000 per head in a room.
Wow.
For buyers, yeah. These are typically smaller rooms, of course. There might be 40 people in the room, but I mean, $20,000 or $15,000 times 40 people is a lot of money for a weekend.
Wow.
And that's the power of a seminar.
So you, the listener out there, wherever you are, stop trading time for dollars.
Mhm.
Get the digital work. Start talking to Ashar. Put together your live event. Don't be afraid. Is a bold move, but it's absolutely worth it. Over to you, Ashar.
Yeah, it's a complete game changer, Marina, because this is what when I talk about if you're not doing offline events, you're leaving $9 out of 10 on the table. That's exactly what I'm talking about. $1 million events. These all happen in the seminar world. There are people who've done $1 million on webinars and sales, but it's tougher. It requires a lot of work, and those are the unicorns, right? There's a lot of people doing $1 million on seminars. As long as they have the right system in place, they have the right sales teams at the events, and they have a good product and great services.
So I think Ashar, that for our listeners out there who would die to have these seminars, but they don't know where to start because they are not leveraging their voice and in their business, and they're afraid of creating seminars to, make that trade and change the game and have more customers, more money, more freedom, and reach the six-figure seminar blueprint. It's all for them. And it's also the question is, which I had a few messages right now, how long in advance would you start advertising the seminar? So how long in advance, where they start? Let's say if they make the decision today to get in touch with you, to put their act together and change the game, how long they have till the actual seminar is going to happen in real life?
Okay, if they have, let's just say they have nothing. We'll start with that, okay? Because that's the easiest way to do it, and then we can add and remove pieces depending on what parts of the system or processes they already have. So let's say they have nothing. If you have nothing, I highly suggest you start 90 days out. The first 30 days are really for testing, locking down your messaging. Start with Facebook ads. My latest blog post, I talk about how Facebook ads has become a premier advertising platform, period. It has outbeat Google AdWords now. But anyhow, besides that, so we start 90 days out. We test your messaging. What you want to do is you want to list all your benefits. You need one hook. Okay, you need one super solid hook, and I talked about this on the last call, is what problem are you solving, right? So you want to list out all your benefits that you have, all the features of your products and services, convert those into benefits to your clients, and then tie it to how you're solving their problems, right? People pay for results. They don't pay for promises. They don't pay for feeling. I mean, they do pay for feeling good. But really, if you can sell results, then that's what people will flock to you towards, right? So the first 30 days of a 90-day campaign is really hardcore testing. So we would come up with all of your features and all of your benefits. We turn those into reports, small, either cheat sheets, reports, or small videos, whatever, to really get the messaging in front of your target audience. So the first thing we would have done before we even started this, though, was understood who your avatar is, who your target client is, and then we start this in the first 30 days. We get this messaging in front of them. We don't want to start just citywide at this point. We want to be within a 100-mile radius of where the event is, or statewide or province-wide if you're in Canada, or statewide if you're in the US or in Europe. You want to be 100 miles around the city. Okay. You start promoting your lead magnets. You start generating your lists. Then the second step, when they opt into your list, it's like, hey, on the thank you page, you'll be like, hey, your whatever you requested is on its way. Thank you for your interest. We are putting together a live event coming up in blah, blah, blah in however many days, have a countdown. If you want to learn this live and you want to be in a room full of your peers and you want me to teach you exactly how to solve this problem one-on-one, then register for this event, okay? So that happens for the first 30 days. Now you look at the cost per acquisition or cost per lead for each of the different messages we put out on the market. Then within the first 20 days, we pick the winner. Once we pick the winner, that's where we start building the actual event registration page based around that messaging that's already been proven to the market, right? So now that that's proven to the market, we build a registration page, we build all the messaging, build all the stick sequences, all out of that within, let's say, so it's 90 days, we say between day 20 and 30, we build that all out. I have some very, once we have that, once we understand that, I have some ways that you can rapidly deploy these landing pages and get them out into the market. And we build our Facebook ads around that as well. And then we start marketing the event at least 60 days out. Now, 60 days is still pretty far out because there's not a lot of sense of urgency right now. The majority of registrations come 7 to 10 days before the event. But you want to cover your bets. You want to get them on your list, and you don't want to have your heaviest ad spend 60 days out, but you want to start getting the word out there. These are the people who are your most likely your biggest fans that will register so far out, but you want to keep them engaged with the sequence. So that's your 60-day campaign, and you want to run that for anywhere from 60 to 45 to 30 days out. Now, when you get 30 days out, that's when you want to kick everything into high gear. You want to quadruple and 5 times your ad budgets. So whatever your total budget was, you want to save 75% of that budget for the last 30 days. Then you want to actually save 40 to 50% of that budget for the last 10 days of the event. So once you know what those amounts are, then you start ramping up your budget, you start ramping up your advertising, and you really create buzz. You start doing some scarcity, you start running ads. The event starts in 10 days, the event starts in 9 days, 8 days, 7 days. So you retarget your audiences and you bring it down from there. So I got very complex. So basically, let me simplify everything real quick. So for 90 days, for 90 to 60 days, you do the opt-in campaigns, you test your messaging, you prove that your model is going to work before you invest the 80% of your budget in your advertising, whether it's Facebook, whether you start doing newspaper, whether it's the hotel and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? Before you book the hotel, before you put the deposits down, just make sure you can typically put a hold on a hotel before you have to pay. You usually have to pay within 30 to 40 days, but you can put a hold on 90 to 60 days out without having to put any deposit down. So 90 to 60, test the messaging. 60 to 30, start. Once you've zeroed in on the messaging, 60 to 30 days, you start promoting the event. 30 to the event day, you start focusing on scarcity, you add on bonuses, you add on surprise guests, you add on new things you're doing, you make it fresh and new, you start adding out countdowns. When you get 10 days out from the event, you increase your budget, and you start saying there's 9 days, 8 days, 7, 6 days. You want to have 2 or 3 training webinars in between as well to warm up your audience and make them excited about attending the event. And that is really the recipe for a successful event or seminar marketing campaign.
Wow, Ashar, this is the full potential exercise. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like starting now. This is amazing. And so let's say, I know we have another 2 minutes only to wrap this up. Let's say you want to encourage somebody to start today. What is your advice to that person which got the courage to take the next step up and start working on this?
My next piece of advice is really start testing your lead magnets. So start testing the cheapest way to actually acquire a good quality lead for your seminar business. And what I would suggest is do a webinar. A webinar is a small portion of what the potential of a live event. It can be webinars, don't get me wrong, webinars are very, very profitable as well, but it also can be a slice. You can put in a lot less work and have a successful webinar, but of course you won't get the same revenue, same interaction, same buzz and energy that you would get with the live event. So I would suggest you do the opt-in campaign, test your messaging, As soon as you zero in on that and you get good cost per lead with Facebook ads, then I would say you test out a webinar. And then that allows you to test your messaging. It allows you to test your offer and make sure that people will buy your products and services. That would be my advice.
Wow. Ashar, you just turned the how into the wow. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful on behalf of all our listeners. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. And we are looking forward to teaching us on stage and travel the world, go where all our listeners are, 5 continents, and make this happen. It's a dream. But everything that happens in your mind, when you have the support of somebody who is so wonderful like Ashar is, there is no stopping. I feel the energy. I'm really grateful. Thank you so much, Ashar. From both of us, until next time, is goodbye. Go digital. Thank you, Ashar.
And if anyone has any questions, just leave it in the comments, and then it'll help me for feedback while I'm building my course. Thank you, Marina. Thank you for everyone for listening and participating, and have a great day.
Thank you so much.